XRP down 46% over the last 6 months. Say it ain't so. Well, at the same time, Bitcoin's actually down 32%. Maybe it's the whole market. The crypto market is getting absolutely hammered. But before anybody out there wants to accuse us of ignoring reality, let's acknowledge that reality. Chip, the price action sucks. It really does. Yeah. Here's the question. If XRP is really headed towards tokenized securities, tokenized money market funds, tokenized stocks, tokenized loans, and institutional finance, why is XRP sitting at $1? It's a good question. Because on today's show, we're going to look past the chart and focus on what Ripple, XRP Ledger, developers, institutions, and builders are actually doing. And the deeper we looked this up this week and dug in and deep dove the concepts and the questions, really one question kept coming up. Is the market missing the story? Chip, you ready to kick this thing off?
Ready, man.
All right.
Welcome to On the Chain.
Hey, welcome to On the Chain. I'm Jeff. That's Chip over there. There he is. Today, we're actually tackling what may be the biggest disconnect in crypto right now. The market says XRP is worth about $1, but the fundamentals are telling a completely different story. David Schwartz is talking about tokenized securities, money market funds, stocks, repos, and loans. XRP tokenization growth is accelerating faster than Ethereum, than Bitcoin, than many of the others out there. South Korea continues to rank among the deepest XRP markets in the world. The XRP Ledger is preparing major infrastructure upgrades, and Coinbase is building more tools for the next generation of digital finance. Think about that, Chip.
I love that, man. And then the question, you come back always to the question, right? It's like all of this is happening. If the ecosystem's expanding, if institutional adoption continues growing, then we're sitting there like, well, everyone's like, well, great. Well, why is XRP sitting where it is today? You know, crypto's been this roller coaster for 16 years. And despite the fact that we've got a crypto president, we've got a mostly pro, at least on the right side of the fence, crypto pro Congress, and you got the naysayers over there. The fear is never permanent. You know, the headlines are never permanent. We do see the positive changes in the wings. The panic is never permanent. Question whether the market is accurately pricing what's coming next. I think that's what we're really taking a look at here, Jeff, today. And I said, like, you know, why don't we just dive right into it and kind of clear some of those suspicions up? And I think we'll start off with none other than David Schwartz, CTO, former CTO emeritus of Ripple, but he is a CTO board member, and he kind of puts in some perspective here. Let's listen to what he has to say. This is very interesting.
This question.
Crypto in 1 minute.
My name is David Schwartz. This is XRP in a minute. How is XRP's utility expanding? Bitcoin got things started by providing a public blockchain that allowed people to hold and transfer Bitcoin. The XRP Ledger followed soon after, providing both a native digital asset similar to Bitcoin, as well as issued assets that could represent things like stablecoins or tokenized assets of any kind. Today, enterprises are using the XRP Ledger to provide tokenized real-world assets, and in the near future, they'll be offering everything from tokenized securities to money market funds, even things like tokenized stocks. And coming soon, we'll see features like tokenized repos and tokenized loans. Enterprises will provide the features that will attract mass retail adoption, where DeFi can truly deliver on its promise of replacing TradFi and providing the financial services that everyone needs.
Boom! Pretty much said it all in 1 minute. There's a lot to unpack there.
A lot packed in there.
There's a lot to unpack there, Jeff. But, you know, especially when you start, you know, when he talks about tokenized repos, I mean, the tokenized loans, and there's so many different areas that you think about it. Like, it's kind of like, you know, it's the frog in the pot where it's boiling. You don't realize because it's happening slow over time. But if you look back to a year ago, You look back to 2 years ago, lawsuit in full swing, and you're like, well, the price action. Well, we saw 350. We saw this. Yeah, great. But where was the positive stuff that was going on for the XRP ledger, and Ripple making some really strong moves and sort of decentralizing how they're supporting the what's happening in the community by having several initiatives spread out over 5 or 6 orgs. Zhaodao happens to be one of them, and more or less, not taking on that burden and unburdening what has been, if you will. So it's been a positive. It's been a very big positive. And what's happening with, all of these other offshoots, like we've seen so many new players come into the space, offering stuff in and around, building on the XRP ledger. And, people are like, well, the price action, well, that's one way to look at it. But the other thing is the things that have been missing for years are starting to happen. So I do think that long-term does support the price. And, I used to think, well, maybe we won't see 350 again or 4 or 5. But if the Clarity Act is passed, I do think, Jeff, that we will see some really positive movement, because, if a lot of this is happening with institutions have to be compliant, right? They're very worried about what's going on. They don't want to be out of compliance. There's heavy fines. And once they know that they're kind of tiptoeing around it right now, but when that passes, and again, whatever's happening with the banks and all that stuff, that's short term. Who cares? I don't even care if they ever have stable coins. They want money and you earn on stable coins, because guess what? You can earn on crypto all day long. So just convert it to crypto. It's not a big stopper point that they've been kind of going back and forth. The next thing to happen, Jeff, are going to be taxes. That's the next big thing that Congress is talking about. 4 to 5 new. Now, I've not actually read any legislation on it, but I see that it's coming. I saw Ellie Terrett report on it saying that the next big thing is they want to change how taxes are calculated on crypto. And there you go. Bye. If that happens, Jeff, again, we need really positive things. And if you get positive, if there's better tax structure, because look at all the countries, Portugal, for example, there's a bunch of countries out there that are attracting, people from other countries come in, bring your money in, come here, live here, contribute positively to society. Don't come in and support the government. We know that doesn't work. Hasn't worked in the States, hasn't worked in Australia, where you come and you live off the teat of the government. No, come in with assets and come in and positively contribute, buy real estate, get involved in your community. This is what they're willing to do. And a lot of what's changed that for a lot of countries is very pro crypto taxation. In a lot of cases, 0 to almost nothing. And that's where you're going to see people pouring into people that didn't believe in it. Look at the boomer generation. You got a massive number of people entering retirement with assets, and these assets can be easily converted into Bitcoin, XRP, Cardano, you name it. There's so many different things you can go into, Jeff. And what's your take on where we are today?
Where we are today, man, we're just at this impetus moment where there's so many amazing opportunities that are sitting in front of us. All the chaos around us, we were talking right before the show, we're talking about AI, how AI is impacting us today, how fast it's developed over the past 3 to 6 months, how fast it develops month to month, the things that you can do, build, develop, simplify, orchestrate. The sky is the limit in terms of all of the capabilities that are at our fingertips today. And I think at some level, it's overpowering to a point where we're overstimulated by all the surroundings. There's too much. We have this overstimulation overstimulated, and because of that, we're in many cases we're falling into inaction or inactivity. And so it's almost like a paralysis, right? So now how do we get beyond it with all these amazing things, all the challenges that are facing us? How do we break out of it? And I think that's the big question. That's the one thing that's haunting everybody's mind. It's like, hey, we're doing great financially. The markets change. The global geopolitics shift. Things have to happen. Gas prices go up. Gas prices come down. Crypto market goes up. Crypto market goes down. It's all cycle. And, the business cycles are still present. The geopolitical problems are always going to be present. There's always going to be impact. What we have to figure out is, as we're seeing all this noise, how do we navigate it? I had a really interesting conversation with my son yesterday. He's been looking at his stock portfolio, looking at his gains, his losses, his buys, his sells, and he's analyzing it. And at this point, he's saving up to buy a watch. So he's like, he's got his sights set on a watch, and he wants to pull profits out of his stock buying and put that, aside. And so as he's looking, he goes, man, this is, thinking forward on how he can make a job out of trading stock. But the point is that as we started analyzing it, he said, I just want to buy niche market or niche industry. So one of the things that he had told me, he said that when he saw all the conflict in the Middle East breaking out and the U.S. involvement getting ready to go over to Iran, the first thing that he thought about was, we're going over there. I want to invest in weapons. He goes, how can I invest in weapons? How can I invest in the military industry? Right. And so he went out and he bought shares that were related to military infrastructure. What are the private industries? So he bought some stocks in that. And then when he sees microchips and the whole conversation with AIs blowing up, what does he go out and do? He looks for chip industry. And so he's invested in semiconductors and chips. And I was like, man, you figured out at 16 what others will never figure out, and some people have a knack for understanding and navigating where you should go, how you should do it, and have that inner connection. That's what we all need to figure out, right? We have to live in that space. All that noise is always going to exist around us, and we have to figure out how we're going to exist and continue to exist, within all this. So those are my 2 cents, I think,
Yeah, I mean, it's
No, I ain't being stimulated.
Oops.
Wait, sorry, I was trying to.
Here we go, right there. So Shad says price will be driven by institutional transaction volume, not retail speculation. 100%.
Yeah.
That's well said. And also Alexander the Base. To me, this seems like a shakeout because Bitcoin and XRP are still bullish on the weekly. Yeah, another good perspective. This is what I like about the people that show up here and the perspectives you share. This is what makes everything go. Yeah, sure. And Jeff and I are sitting over here doing it, but you guys make this happen. You guys like what you see and everything. Do what you can to support it. Repost our out there. I see a lot of it. I saw Charles always liking our posts and repost.
Have them buy XRP at $1, and that's another great conversation. What everyone's saying is the opportunity, the buy opportunities are when the market tanks, not when the market's at its peak. But right now are the buy opportunities.
Well, this is it here. Aussie's right here. Aussie said right here, while they're crying, I'm buying. Right. It's so funny
there
because
you go. Yeah.
friends never contacted me until XRP the first time got up to like 192. Aside from what happened in 2017, 18, right? But then they're like calling me, hey, what talking about this XRP? They want to get in when it's going up and they see something positive happen. But when it's on sale, they're like, I don't know. And it's funny because I was looking at SUI and I was like looking at around 99 cents. And I said, well, if there's a little bit more shakeout in this marketplace, now it's down around 68, 69 cents. But you got to look at SUI's been over $5. It hit over the $5 mark. So not that I'm an expert trader, not that I'm an expert, but you got to say to yourself, well, if it's gone to 5 at an all-time high, the chances are of getting back there in a positive bull run are very good. So you're talking about more than 5-6xing your investment, and again, it's all speculation. Nobody knows for sure, but it's reasonable to say we all knew when XRP back in 2018 got to over 350, it is reasonable to say, well, yeah, it can probably do that again, and sure as hell did. So when you're thinking about your investments, you look at ETH being $4,300. Okay, well, there's a lot of shakeout that's happened with ETH recently. You saw the Bankless guys, they're always a pro ETH podcast. And one of the Bankless boys with the giant headphones, by the way, giant ass headphones and giant ass glasses. I don't know if it's a disguise. Used to be like when you're in the 70s and 80s, you used to wear those glasses with the giant nose. That was your disguise. Now it's giant headphones and big goofy glasses. Anyway, I kind of got off on a little tangent there, but you just think about, there's a lot of stuff going on in the market, and what your son's looking at such a young age, Most people, that doesn't hit them until their 40s, 50s, and they're starting to think, oh, geez, I should probably start thinking about retirement. And so for him to be thinking about this now, like I went in and I go in there, I analyze all the time, and I cannot believe the gains. I'm almost at 30% on one account. And I'm like, yeah, a little aggressive. But again, the same thing that, your son's looking for, I'm looking for also. I'm kind of looking where the play is now. Something big is happening. SpaceX IPO is happening next week. Now, if you know what's going on with SpaceX, first of all, they just signed $1 billion deal per month.
They did.
With Google. They signed over $1 billion deal with Anthropic. So you're talking about $24 billion a year that's getting paid to them to use their data centers. Now, who would have seen this coming? This is like, you're talking about that money coming in. It's like if you have this extra space, you have this capacity, it's not full. So what are you going to do? It's kind of like people that buy real estate. You go buy this, hey, I'll buy a second home, but we're not going to be there all the time. So we're going to Airbnb it, right? So we're going to take the investment. We're going to make money on it. So he's out this space. And I'm like, $24 billion is getting paid to SpaceX to use their infrastructure. This is insane. And what's being, rolled into the sort of spaces. So the IPO used to be, I think it was capped at 25K. They've now lowered that to 2,000K. So $2,000. You can get into this IPO. So if you're looking at trying to get in this IPO, like where's it going to go? I don't know, but it's probably going to be the biggest one. Now, the bigger ones to keep your eye on are going to be Anthropic. Now, if Anthropic goes IPO, you're going to see something go through the roof. You thought NVIDIA was interesting?
Parabolic.
Anthropic will be the, when you see them, Kapathi just went over there. He talking about the guy, the co-founder of OpenAI. He led over there the AI initiative over at Tesla. I got this guy he's the guy that coined vibe coding. He's the guy that coined. He's like sort of like this, and so he's over there looking over product. And you have this massive race. And the best thing that ever happened to AI, in my opinion, is the same thing as the crypto market. The crypto market, if it had Bitcoin, I've got Bitcoin. Okay, what does it do? It doesn't do anything. Okay, but it's Bitcoin. It's worth a lot of money. Okay, but then you said you saw people like David Schwartz and some of the original people who looked at Bitcoin and says, what isn't right about Bitcoin? Let's make that right with XRP, right? So they go ahead and they have this trajectory for what XRP is going to be. Then there's all these other offshoots, and you have all these other transactional type of problems being solved in the space. If you don't have that competition, you're not driving innovation. If all we ever had was Bitcoin, I don't know what Bitcoin would be at, in the highs of $50, $60, $100,000. It's the competition around it that fuels the entire market. So the same thing's happening with AI. OpenAI, the same thing with Anthropic. These two guys battling it out. Codex is better. No, Claude Code is better. No, this is better. Oh, I like this one. And then all the vibe coding things, like
all of them.
Like Replit, and you have Lovable and all these other side sort of initiatives. People are like, I meet people that are like, no, I'm only Replit. I have our shoulders. You like your eco structure. There's enough room in it. Well, guess what? The same is true of the crypto market. People have their favorites, right? They have this little ecosystem they live in. So it's the same tribalism that happens everywhere. So you have tribalism in crypto, and you got tribalism in AI, Jeff. Everyone picks their favorite horse, and they're like, no, you're not going to convince me otherwise. And I see people arguing on X about like, why code?
It's insane.
Because of this. No, Codex does this, and Codex just rolled out apps, and it's fun to watch. Jeff and I mean, not 99.9 maybe % of our conversations are all about what we're building and what we're doing with AI. It's the most fun. I've never had more fun in my entire life. I've never been more excited in my entire life. And if you want to build anything, you have an idea you want to solve, man, jump in. I remember the time when I started building something, and I said, Jeff, I don't know what you're doing. Stop whatever the F you're doing right now. Go to get Claude Code and start building something. Remember that, Jeff? I said, Jeff went out and built something freaking unbelievably cool that I was like so blown away by, and he continues to do so. So that's our thing. We trade off about what we're building for our companies. And it used to be, I used to think, I didn't even have those ideas. Like I would just say like, hey, you know what? I'm searching for this. And search online. Is there a solution for it? I just build it now. That's where we're at. That's the junction we're at. And right now, the pain that you go through, Jeff, is changing.
It is. It's amazing. It's truly, it was funny. I had somebody stop by the office yesterday. He had to use something that we have over there. So, but anyhow, so he came by and he's been telling me about how the fact he's trying to build a trading bot, right? And so he's going through this whole orchestration. He's been writing it in Python, and so he's building this whole thing, and he's been running into some roadblocks. And I said, well, how are you building this thing? And he's been testing it, and it's for options trading, whatever. Can't get into the details of it. He's written all the code. I was like, how are you putting this whole thing together? Right? The guy has an IT background, but not a coding background. So he tells me he's been using Claude to write the code. I said, how are you having it write the code? Like, why aren't you able to figure out what that issue is? Are you sending it back into Cowork? He goes, what's Cowork? I said, how are you coding this thing? He goes, I'm using chat to code it. I was like, man, let me show you something. Yeah.
He wasn't even using Claude.
He's using Claude, but he's using in Claude chat. And I said, what are you doing about your .md files? How many .md files do you have? He goes, what is a .md file? What are you talking about? He goes, because he keeps having the cyclical conversations. He goes, chat keeps forgetting what I'm talking about. I was like, you're in the wrong place. So I went to him and I said, listen, give me your idea. I set up a project in chat and I said, give me your idea. And I said, now give me all of the MD files that I need to hand over to Cowork that I need to put in this project folder to build this project. Boom. 11, 12 different .md files. I said, watch, boom, grab the MD files. And it says, then chat says, I need 6 in my project. The rest you're going to put over into Cowork. And I said, okay, great. And I said, now, and I told him, I said, look, now I just built the brain of your project. This is it. And we're there for like 10 minutes, right? And I just built out his entire brain. It put all the architecture around what he needed. Now he's coded all this stuff and he's built it and it's been functional. And he's been semi-trading any APIs over to Alpaca, I think it was. And so, or he's using Alpaca to API bridge over to his trading platform. And so whatever. So we put this whole thing together. And I said, now that you have the brain, now ask Cowork how to figure this out. Now have a deep dive your problem and you're going to figure it out. And then I told him, I said, now have code tell you, or have Cowork and code explain to you what backend. I said, where are you running the backend? And he's trying to run it out of his prompt. Right. And so I'm like, well, what are you doing? Like, I don't, understand how you're running this out of your command prompt. So I said, now code and Cowork are going to tell you where it needs to live. There's a chance they might have you connect to Vercel. You definitely need to get GitHub, right? They said, number one, go home, register for GitHub, register for Vercel. You probably need Supabase because you have a lot of data that you're going to be tracking. Register for those. It might have you connect to something else completely, but those are my initial thoughts of a starting point. All free. You don't pay for anything. And I set him on it. And on my way home, I called him and he goes, oh man, he goes, I already started this whole thing. And I started building it. And I said, did you do the MD files yet? So what happened is that he took all of his stuff, put it back into the same chat. Chat started rewriting his code. I'm like, dude, what are you doing? I said, you need to open up a brand new project, brand new chat, then tell it, build your structure. Then once you have the structure built, plug your code back into Cowork, right? And I took a step back. I'm like, and he's just like, oh man, he goes, can you make a video for me with all this shit? And I take a step back. I'm like, man, I've been at it. I don't know, how long have we been doing this? What is it, like 60 days, 30 days?
Yeah, maybe 45
right?
or 60 days. I mean,
yeah.
Heavily, right? You're like
whatever so I take a step back, Chip. I'm like, damn, I'm giving this guy a tutorial on how to use Claude code.
How much you've learned. Well, that's it. I mean, like, honestly, a lot of it came because, early days, guys, we all watch crypto videos and we still continue to watch crypto videos. I haven't watched a crypto video. And I mean, I watch Aries videos. That's about it. I mean, I watch your videos and I see everyone. I just don't have the capacity not that I don't care, but I like short.
We have.
But what I've seen is that if you really want to start coding, there's so many amazing, like what you get in one YouTube video. I follow like at least 40, 50 people. They all have different levels of but some of the ones that I follow that they just give you everything, right? This is what I do. This is how it's done. You click this, you click that. Yeah. Here are the prompts below, like all of that stuff. And if you guys are wondering, like the MD files sounds, if Markdown is just a language, You know, you've probably seen it, 2, you know, asterisks before and after a word, bolds it, and hashtags. It just puts it in a format that's friendly to be read by a computer. And if you think about, like, in the traditional sense of development, these are like requirement docs. All of your requirements go into it. And then a lot of this stuff is augmented by skills, which are, you're not having to write these giant prompts anymore. The skill, if you put things around skill, I have a naming thing where I just started a new company, and one is all about branding, and it's a massive skill that helps Claude understand what it's looking for, and if it's designing something, the same type of things in these markdown files. And there's a Claude.md, which is very important. It's a smaller file, but that's your brain, because people think people are working with it, and you kind of have these weird interactions with Claude, and it tells you stuff. And I gave it a handoff one, and it told me that I was heavily opinionated, that I really like things a certain way. I'm like, listen, I'm like, this is how Claude, I'm like, make sure it's very detailed. And it's like, the first paragraph is all about me. And it said at the end, do not tell me to ever take a break. Because sometimes it'd be like, hey, you want to take a break? I'm like, dude, I've been at this an hour. What do you mean I want to take a break? What is this? What is this, Steckerville? And it's like, it's not sentient. It doesn't think for itself. It's all, you know, based on what you do. But sometimes you can lose that perspective and think like, well, I'm interacting with a person. But it can act as a mentor. But I would tell everybody, if there's a project you want to build in and around crypto, you know, go send it to the XRPL docs, right? These new docs are being written. I co-hosted a space with Jenna the other night on Thursday night at 7:30. We do a space every week. We had on Daniel. He's the self-imposed XRPL CEO, but I mean, on a bigger level, Daniel is like, Daniel and Chris are putting these docs together, and you send it to go look at the docs. You don't read the docs. You tell it, hey, these are the docs. Bring down what's important. Go study these docs. Make a document on it. And then if you want to build something on the XRPL, and you said, hey, I have an idea. Would it be cool if this? And you need funding. Great. Come join Zowdow. Write a proposal and get the funding you need. But honestly, you can do a lot of this stuff yourself. You know what you want to write. You can actually, a lot of the projects right now are being either mostly generated or a good portion generated by AI. And what we're seeing happening to the Ripple team, the Ripple Dev X team, is what they have employed institutional type AI that specialize in an area of security or whatever, being able to find the bugs. Because with the Zcash, it was Claude that found the vulnerability. That had been there for a long time. Now, nothing was stolen, but the whole point of having this vulnerability be surfaced ended up just causing a massive sell-off. People got scared and whatever, but it was Claude, I think 4.8, that ended up finding this vulnerability. And so AI being able to do things and connect dots that humans can't. So this is what I think we're really in the in this brand new sort of a phase. But guys, if you wanted to build something and you had this cool idea, don't let it stop you. Jump into Claude Code, jump into Codex on the you know, Anthropic is code is Claude Code, and if you jump on the OpenAI, they've got Codex, which is new. I think it's not even 60 days old, and they're doing a ton of stuff too. So either jump into either one of those, start watching some YouTube videos, and start coding, start building. You're talking to your computer, and if you know enough of what you're looking to build, let it figure it out. Let it test it. I did a whole security audit on something I just wrote, and it came up with all kinds of stuff. And then I loaded some custom skills and some other MD files that were, I don't know. How am I supposed to figure this stuff out? I don't know anything about it. Anyway, jumping back on, Jeff, there's one crypto expert probably we all should listen to very early days. This is an old video, but maybe we should have listened to this guy. You guys tell me, should we have taken this guy's advice or should we not have?
Crypto, you don't need the anxiety. Before you bought the bullshit fantasy coin, your life was good, but then you made some money and became greedy. Now the bullshit coin is fucked, and nobody can tell you when it is going to be unfucked. Even the motherfucker who convinced you to buy the bullshit coin, who told you that it is going to be the next big thing, that motherfucker is nowhere to be found. You are on your own, and all you can do is cry about it in the shower and hope and believe that your bullshit coin will go up in price again, so that you can sell it and make some money and buy some more and then get fucked all over again. That is crypto.
Jeez, Jeff, I don't know.
I love that guy. He does so many. He's so fun.
Every time that comes in my feed, I've seen it for years. I have to watch the whole thing because it's that good.
He is so funny.
It is that good. Anyway,
hey, here you go. Here's Elian Tron said, I stumbled across Vercel and was able to build an XRP tipping site that uses Zaman. That's
Beautiful.
kick-ass. You need to share that. That's awesome. Stuff like that, we start building out. If you think about, if you're passionate about crypto and you have an idea of something like that, you want to create a tipping site and build in, and you could leverage, multiple different types of exchanges, right? And different wallet, all these, whatever the passion is. Man, you guys, we should have a section here where people come on and share their their whatever they're building like that within
We're gonna,
crypto, utilizing AI. I mean,
we're going to turn this to a crypto
AI.
AI / geopolitics. It'll be 2 hour. It'll be a 2 hour podcast every time.
That's right. Why not?
Yeah.
I think I'd be exciting. Look at Elian said, I had to learn a lot more about Zaman. This is what's so amazing about it. You learn so much about all the different aspects.
Claude has to, well, you don't need to learn shit. What I see, Jeff,
you end up learning.
Yeah, we talked about this before. It's like crypto's not going to take jobs. It's just you have to have a high degree of functionality and enough business experience and working in the world to understand what is and what isn't. And this is where you have to be able to discern between a direction it's taken. It's not sentient. It's not thinking. It's all based on what you fed it. It's as good as what you fed it. And Jeff's example of his friend that comes in and it just started building. He got so excited about it. He missed a lot of the fundamentals, and that's why he kept getting this endless loop of not growing and get anywhere, because it would forget stuff. It doesn't have a memory. And even when you get eclipse 100, on the Claude side, if you upload 100 screenshots or images, you have to create a handoff token, a prompt, and it has to start all over. So, or it has to go through. A lot of times I'll point it to the to my docs and say, hey, I want you to read through all these and read through it. And it's funny because you'll even get some disagreement between, like, maybe the way Claude or Cowork's working, and then even Claude Code. They sort of have their own abilities to take a bunch of data and come up with different solutions. And so we think about what's going on in the XRP, sort of world. Evernorth said the real world tokenization on XRP networks growing faster than Ethereum this year by more than twice the amount. It's also reached a comparable total asset value in less than half the time as Ethereum. Now, this is big. We don't have thought about this. Is why these cool things are happening. We're like, oh, but the price is going to go under $1. Full download in the Behind the Tokenization League tablet report.
There.
And if you think about like what they're talking about here, they're going through with their filing. Like this Evernorth was just announced. Ashish Burla left. He started this thing. It's now going public. Here's a great thread. Ashish Burla, Bitcoin sold this week. One of the most traded coins in the country wasn't Bitcoin, it was XRP. On Upbit, Korea's largest exchange, XRP KRW consistently ranks among the top traded markets, has repeatedly topped both Bitcoin and ETH on heavy days. Seoul is one of the deepest XRP markets in the world, and here's what I saw happening on the ground. And there he is right there in the center. And he goes on to say that Korea's biggest financial institutions are buying their way into exchanges, not building around them. Mirai Asset has reportedly acquired a 20% stake in Corbit. Hana is reportedly moving on Upbit. And then one of the country's largest brokerages now has crypto rails as its core infrastructure. And Mirai is one of the largest investment banks in Korea. They led a panel on financial systems rebuilt around digital assets. Think about that, Jeff. Financial system rebuilt around digital assets. And then the background's going like, what about the price? Hey, man, this massive stuff is groundwork's being laid in the background. So when the incumbent runs the panel, the experiment phase is over. And that's so perfectly said right there. The other tell was when the Bitcoin conference and the floor was full of tokenization and real world asset panels, Ondo on tokenized treasuries, SBI digital markets on tokenized music, the energy around moving real assets on chain, most of which Bitcoin design cannot natively support. And again, this is the whole reason of having these other systems and blockchains that can solve these other problems. And Bitcoin's not going to, because it can't natively support it. And if you think about the conversation has moved from what coin do you hold to what can your chain actually settle? Tokenized assets need throughput, low fees, and finality. And that's a market structure question. It's not a tribal one. And despite the crypto winter headline, Seoul felt like summer. Rooms packed, conversations deep, real builders working the intersection of crypto and, Jeff, AI. So you've got all this amazing stuff happening. Wait a minute, I got a little bit ahead of myself there. Here we go. And he says, also on a personal highlight, meeting members of the Korea XRP community, like Time Leverage XRP, otherwise is Mr. Moon. Am I following here? Let me see. I don't even know if I can get to it. Let's see. There you go, Mr. Moon. Look at a lot of XRP action going on there. Takeaway: the institutions are no longer asking whether digital assets belong in the system. And everyone's missing this, Jeff. This is exactly what we're talking about. They're deciding which infrastructure to build on. The shift is what we've been writing for about all year. XRP volume over Bitcoin via Upbit. It's just massive. So I love this take by Ashish. And I think it's important to note the things that we miss that are being laid in the background. Is it going to reflect in price? It has to, man. You're talking about it used to be like, well, I don't know if the trade file will ever go into, traditional crypto. I don't know if this is going to happen. Well, dude, it's happening everywhere, Jeff.
It is happening everywhere you look.
It's everywhere and anywhere that you want to be. Here's something that's interesting. And Jeff, I've wondered about this for a long time. This is interesting. So the XRP Ledger operations posted this. XRP Ledger 3.2.0 is coming soon. The core system software powering the XRPL is changing its name from Rippled to XRPLD. And I've always wondered, why would it be called Rippled? Right? The Ripple this is what gets confusing for people, the company versus, so it makes a lot of sense by the software being called XRPLD, not Rippled. Right. You see the updates. Update your Ripple. It's like, why? What do you mean? The transition will require some updates for infrastructure operators. We're preparing a detailed playbook to help you through the upgrade process. This is more on point for what it is. The XRPLD. There you go. Versus Rippled. I always wondered, why do they call it Rippled? And I guess they started wondering themselves because they sort of got off that. Ryan Armstrong from Coinbase, who's been hated by Jamie Dimon, apparently. He called him an asshole or something. And that interview with Bartoloma, he said that their new Coinbase dev portal is looking awesome. It's the best place to build in crypto. And you're like, what? Yeah, it gives access to all our powerful developer tools, wallets, payment, APIs, X402, etc. in one dashboard. You can even launch a branded stablecoin backed 100% by USD. So when we start seeing this kind of stuff happening, Jeff, where you've got the ability for a common person to just go in there and start building something, that's pretty amazing. So here's a little bit of what their dashboard looks like.
Coinbase Developer Platform is the infrastructure layer powering the crypto economy. Here's what it looks like. It all starts with custody. Create custodial wallets, link an existing Coinbase Prime or business account, and provision non-custodial wallets. Flexible infrastructure to match how you want to hold funds. Using our holistic payment APIs, you can support stablecoin on and off ramps, pay-in and payouts, settlements, treasury management, and acceptance across your accounts in real time 24/7. With X402, you can engage directly in the agentic economy. If you need our fully managed solution, Coinbase provides end-to-end access to our global compliance infrastructure. Onboard your individual or business customers and give them access to payments, custody, and trading, all under your brand. Want your own branded stablecoin? Seamlessly issue a custom stablecoin backed by USDC and manage mint, burn, rewards, and transfers directly from the portal or through the APIs. All of these actions are backed by robust observability, webhooks for real-time event notifications, and scheduled reports for reconciliation. Finally, before you go live, test every workflow end-to-end in our sandbox environment, so you can build with confidence before your first real transaction. Coinbase Developer Platform, the best place to build in crypto.
I mean, this is pretty amazing, Jeff, that Coinbase is even offering this. Launch your own stable coin with a series of menus and prompts, jump into a sandbox, test everything out, and boom, you got your own stable coin. It's really remarkable where we're living. Or still like, wow, all right, so the fanboys are going $1,000 by Tuesday. I mean, talk about what's really happening in crypto, what's really touching people.
Kuala
Lumpur, nice. Who's pretty good, man.
But you just brought up something interesting. If somebody wants to build a stable coin and you have some ideas, and we talk building in crypto, but you want to take it to that extent and you want to build out a project and you want to infrastructure like that, and go over to AI and be like, hey, how do I do it? What are my steps? Walk me through the steps, and then you build it.
True
like
true
that.
story. True story.
Connect all the dots.
Armstrong
Crazy.
said
Look at
this. People still think that or feel that because Bitcoin is down, crypto's down. Derivatives,
True.
perps, stable coins, prediction markets are all up in crypto. Crypto touches every area of finance.
That's
It's
right.
much better than Bitcoin now. And so this is good hearing this from someone like a Brian Armstrong, who traditionally was very heavy on Bitcoin, but he's saying this
Yeah.
something very important. Crypto touches every area of finance. You're seeing the same messaging happening across the sphere from a number of leaders, from people that own these, people like Brian Armstrong, CEO over there at Coinbase, Ashish Burla, CEO of Evernorth. You're seeing the same thing. You're seeing the same stuff come out of SBI over in Japan. You're hearing about what's going on in Korea, and people are still stuck on the price. Guys, give it some time. And you know what? If they think good time to buy, like Ozzy said, hey, people are crying, I'm buying, right? Crypto touches every area of finance. Don't let that be something just discounted. It's much broader than Bitcoin. It'll take time for this to sink in. Saying the same messaging we're saying, Jeff. And yes, Bitcoin's going to do great. It's going to be important as ever, one of the money cycles we've been through. But it is funny that the people that have been around for years are still like, oh, I don't know, maybe the whole market, maybe crypto's never going to make it. Now, on the downside, Polymarket's been pretty fair with stuff, Jeff. Look at that right there. Just in, XRP projected to crash below $1 by the end of the month, a 54% chance. And you can bet on that on the whether it's going to go down or not. I mean, what's it sitting at right now? Do you have a
What's that?
XRP? Where's XRP sitting right now?
$1.03, $1.08.
Yeah, I don't know. Maybe it's already below $1. I don't know. But again, buy it at $1, it goes to 3x, man. You go to 5, boom. So there's a lot of
XRP price action right now. How come it's not coming up? XRP price is at, it doesn't even want to tell me. What should we look at here? Let me just go to CoinGecko. I like pulling it up on Google, and then doesn't want to pull up here.
CoinGecko, I got it up here.
The CoinGecko.
61 for Bitcoin, dropped from 70 something from last week. ETH is down to 1,500. Let's see. XRP is $1. Solana sitting at 62.
XRP is $1.10. Interesting.
Wild, huh? Stellar is at 20 cents, holding strong from its little 374.
It's amazing that it's holding tight like that.
I mean, Canton's a big one. I think is going to go well over $2-3 at some point. Canton is sitting at 15 cents. I don't know, man. It could be a very good buy right there. Cardano's at 15 as well. Monero's at 300, just under 300. Chain 739. Yes, you've got a lot of this. Hedera sitting at 7 cents. Avalanche is just under $7. What else we have here? Shiba Inu, Jeff. 0.45.
What is it at now? The SHIB?
The SHIB, well, I think 50. It's 0, 0, 0, 0, 0. It's 5 zeros, 4542.
Wow. It's in the 4s. Remember that shit was in the over 8s.
$1.14. What else? World Liberty at 0.05. Polkadot's at 9.95 cents. Geez, that was 40 at one time. I remember $41 down to 95 cents. Geez, that's a tough one. Ondo at 32 cents. Let's see what else we have. I'm trying to look. Pi. I can't believe Pi is still a thing. 12 cents. Pi's
still around. I thought the Pi project got crushed.
It's at 12 cents. For the longest time, it wasn't worth anything, but now it's worth 12 cents. So I don't know what's going on.
12 cents.
Yeah.
Seriously? Wow.
Aave is sitting at $62.
I don't even know where my Pi is anymore.
I don't know what happened to mine either. Algorand is at 9. So, just look, it could be a lot of buy opportunities going on there. I mean, for sure.
Well,
if you want to,
without a doubt, there's definitely some buy opportunities hanging out there. You're in that mode. I mean, everything's hitting these lows across the board. So
somebody came up,
we're getting hammered.
Somebody came up with a new logo for ETH. Looks like that, Jeff. There's a new logo.
That's great. That's exactly what it is. That's exactly it. Maybe that's how he came up with it to begin with.
It makes the same logo. An empty wallet.
No, that's great.
That is fantastic.
Oh, I hear the coffee brewing out there.
Look, you're streaming live. XRP should not be at $1. Here's why.
Who's streaming?
We are.
Oh yeah, that's right.
That's
We're
right.
actually streaming.
Got to remind you of the streaming. $1.95. Yeah, see that? $1.09, $1.10. CMC, $1.09, $1.95. There it is. Yeah, so it's sitting right at 9.5 cents. Up and down, 110. There it is. Yeah, chances that it'll go down. I thought 106 was good on some last night. There you go, $1.09. So that's the I don't know if you put this one up here. The narrative coming from the Bank of England and other central banks. Look, I don't see how central banks are going to survive this. The same way that regular banks are not going to survive this, central banks is theft on a level that there's a reason the founders of the United States did not want central banks. That's why the first two were eliminated. I think if Trump is doing what he should be doing, the Federal Reserve should be, it's not a federal and there's zero reserves and it's never been audited. And if you think about the fraud that's going on in the United States, 1/3 to 40% of all things happening in the United States is all fraud. The fraud's being exposed. People are disappointed about it, but hey, the Democrats are fighting any legislation of fraud. Yeah, well, when your party gets fueled by it, goes out to some NGO and the NGO funnels it through 30 other things and it ends up back in your coffers.
That's right.
$1.59. That's how it works, man. It's
exactly
how it works. So
Who's Crypto also asked us, what do we think about tokenized bank deposits making stablecoins obsolete? And it's kind of an interesting idea if you're able to leverage other deposits that are, essentially your stablecoin has to be backed by a deposit. It should be. You should have a 1-for-1 valuation. It should be in an account, but it doesn't necessarily, even though it's trading in USD, sometimes they were managing a basket. Like Tether was backed, supposedly they had issues at one point when they audited them, but they were backed by not just US dollar, right? The valuation was US dollar 1-for-1, but the overall, the backing was, I guess they had multiple different types of assets. What do you think? This is where it gets challenging. What do you think, Chip? Overall, if you look at USDC, we look at RLUSD. Should they be backed 1-for-1 with a US dollar account? Can they hold in different asset categories, even though the value of the stablecoin is pegged to the USD from a valuation perspective, but they still need to have backing somewhere, right?
Yeah, I agree. I'm not exactly sure that tokenized deposits will make them obsolete. I think it's more about, like, if you think about, like, the banks can't ignore stable coins, and I think that banks are already going to embrace them. And if you think about tokenized deposits, I think in some respects it could be good for, like, institution, when we talk about regulated finance and all that, but we've got at least a lot of countries already have that in works or in play. And if you think about corporate treasuries, like settlements between banks type of thing, collateral payments, networks. Yeah, maybe. I think banks would embrace that idea because they're like, hey, the deposits stay with us. They're going to be happy about that. But on the other side of it too, what stablecoins provides, I think more is like, it's, first of all, it's global. You're not restricted to maybe like a country sort of a bank, or like let's say even a central type bank. The fact it is, when you think about who participates in the systems, you got everybody from like fintechs, emerging markets, the DeFi side of it. So I don't necessarily know that it, although it is interesting, I think the banks would probably be pushing more of that. But the tokenized, like JP Morgans of the world, they would probably be like really pro on that, to be like, oh yeah, this is the greatest thing since the world. But I don't know. What about liquidity? What about movement? What about settlement? I think that's always going to be a key issue. And how are tokenized bank deposits going to compete, right? The way stablecoins compete, the way that the finality of, quick transactions, low fees. Banks are going to want high fees. That's been the biggest obstacle. So what about the tokenized deposits? Sure, you tokenize it, but to your point, Jeff, it's like they still got to be back with something. So if you tokenize $1, now you've got a tokenized version of that that's now digital. You're kind of just renaming it in a certain way, but can it do all the things that a stable coin can do, right? Now you've taken something that's traditionally, $1 USD or a pound or, an Australian dollar, a Japanese yen, whatever. Now you're saying, okay, there's a tokenized version of it, but how does that compete with what stable coins are really good with, Now, could it become the settlement layer for maybe institutional? Maybe. I mean, especially dealing with like the big JP Morgans of the world. But I still think you have stable coins, and most of them are really paired to the US dollar, Jeff. I mean, I think like when I think in terms of that, I don't know. It's the tokenized deposits would be like the bankers saying, "Yay, look what we have." But I don't think they're going to be able to compete. And if you think about what the stable coins really are, it's all about settlement across the, of what's happening. And I just don't know. I don't think they could ever catch up or even gain attraction, but maybe institutional. But who should bring up a really good question? We'd have to see how that pans out. But I just don't think it's going to be able to catch up. And I don't know the banks touting their, hey, we got tokenized, deposits. I don't think people care about it. I don't think people would be so pro to jump in with the banks. Yeah, obviously the JP Morgans of the world, the Goldman Sachs of the world, I can see them embracing that, but they're not even embracing it now. And I don't think they ever will. I don't know. I just see it as like a long shot type of thing. Will it happen? I think, yeah, we're going to see that, but I don't know if it's going to gain the attraction you think.
Stuff's happening.
It could potentially gain that attraction, but anyway, we're going to pivot over to some geopolitical stuff right here. What's been really funny about these, Trump decided to redo the reflection pool, and it's been broken for like 30 years. And Obama tried to fix it back in the early 2000s, and $33 million. And 3 years later, within a month, it had a massive amount of algae and smelled really bad. I mean, it hasn't been fixed. Like, these are the things, like if you're going to pick a hill to die on, beautifying at DC is probably not that hill to die on, right? You can't be Orange Man bad 24/7. You can be against his policies, but who is against having it beautiful? Now, here's a liberal talking about it.
I thought it was a stupid idea to paint the reflecting pool, but y'all, it looks good. It actually looks really good. Like, it makes the reflection look extraordinarily prominent in a way that it did not look before. And I hate that.
You can see it right there, the reflection on the bottom. She hates that, Jeff. Yeah. She hates it because she's a liberal, and she can't admit that was a kill. She hates the fact that she likes it. And it's like every administration is going to do something. 90, it can't be 100% wrong. There's going to be a couple things in there. You get some wins. Why would you fight against it? Why would you be against it cost $3 or $4 million versus and done within a couple months versus $33 million? I saw some lefty over there and said, "Oh, I can't believe he painted it blue and it cost all this amount of money." I'm like, well, your guy took 3 years and $33 million, and it was broken within a month. So you didn't fix the problem. You cleaned it out and you just filled it up with water again. If you didn't clean it out, you didn't seal it properly, you didn't have some kind of filtration in there, because if it's just standing water, of course it's going to grab algae. It's got to be chlorinated. It can't be standing water, But again, Jeff, sometimes people, they go all in on this stupid stuff. It's unbelievable, man. It really is a head scratcher. I don't know why people do that. And there's so many parts of DC that have been even monuments that have been just like 100 years of decay, and they cleaned them up and they went in there and made them nice. What are you bitching about? Mm-hmm. Like, get in line with that. You just look like a partisan hack. And the thing is, DC is beautiful for the people. It's not benefiting any particular party. And the things that should be nonpartisan, somehow, I don't know what it is, Jeff. Everything becomes a prominent sort of a thing. And then the massive amount of fraud, the Southern Poverty Law Center at SPLC is just another. Here we're thinking all this stuff is ground roots, it's organic, and it's all manufactured BS. The left, Jeff. Listen to this report.
Do you know what the SNAP fraud rate actually is, according to the most recent estimates from USDA? The fraud rate.
Well, that is based on data we're receiving from the state.
This is funny. It's a little different story. I thought it was a different video. This, Jeff, talking about what's going on with fraud. why are the Democrats against because Orange
Everything.
Man, because the Republicans are pushing it? This is nonpartisan. The fraud kills all of our budgets. It raises our taxes. Like,
Right.
why would you be against that, Jeff? Why? Can anybody understand why that is a problem? I just
They're against everything that is normal at this point. I mean, they're so far, fringe. It was interesting seeing Keem Jeffries was being interviewed as he was walking, and they were asking him about Ilhan Omar's corruption and what he thought about it. He goes, "Oh, I don't know anything about it." And she asked, "So what about the winery that doesn't exist anymore?" I don't know anything about it. But what I am focused on is there's too many people that are attacking her, and and the right is making up stories about her. And then she said, "Well, what about the going from 30 million to 100,000 and calling it an accounting error?" And he keeps focusing back on this idea. It's like, can't you just say, look, there's something, potentially something there, but that's what the court's for. This is where it's going to be hashed out. Let's take it out of just media hype. Let's dig in and see what the reality is. But no, I don't know anything about it. But, I know that there's all these conspiracy theories. There aren't conspiracy theories. That's exactly what happened. It's exactly what happened. Now, let's dig into the back end, get her actual story, bring her in front of a court of law. Then let's figure out what exactly happened. I mean, that's going to be the reality of it. If she committed fraud and was reporting 30 million, but now it's a net worth of 100, or does she have 30 million and now she's defrauding the people and saying she has 100,000? Like, what exactly is happening? Where did the money come from? Where did the winery come from? Why did the winery not produce wine? Why was it a slush fund? Why was money being moved around? Paper money, not paper money, whatever it was. Is that paper money in order for her to go out and buy other things and leverage the paper money to get other property or other, there's all sorts of ways to finagle the system, just like the Hunter Biden payoff with his artwork, and they're buying this ridiculous artwork. And it's another way of moving money around. And, then somehow the whole Biden crime syndicate, as they moved funds and money, and then it just gets ignored. It gets swept under the carpet because a lot of them are doing the same type of orchestration. Book deals is an instant way of moving money to somebody. If you remember Obama, when he was first running, he didn't have any money. And so he supposedly had a book. He got a book deal. He didn't write the book yet. They fronted him $1 million on the book deal. It's like, come on, like no book. Here's a book deal. Here's $1 million. Good luck. Right. You don't even have to write the book, or you have a ghostwriter write it next year. I mean, it's just like this. These are the things that happen. And we got to put an end to that type of stuff.
Yeah, Fuma Boy Z says the people are given the narrative, don't live in DC. The residents of DC are happy with the changes, and I've noticed how they never talk to people who actually live there. That's a very good point. They really don't. And then Devon Steve says these lefty types should look into that pool and reflect on their ideology. That's another good one.
They should. I like that.
Reflecting on their ideology is probably a good one, but they don't even see it as ideology. This is what happens with ideology. People say like, "Well, you're right. Ideology breaks it." I said, "Well, let's bring it down to reason. Let's look at it from a logical standpoint. Yeah, you can. I can see the other side. I just don't agree with the other side. Like, but just to hate on something for the sake of hating on it, it's a bad move, man. It's a very bad move."
That's right. Before they trash the legacy system, fraud will continue to skyrocket so they can take more cash and buy XRP. That's right. Buy XRP. But this goes to the voting too, about everything that happened in California. And we haven't even tapped into that yet, So let's see what this is. JD Vance.
Well, this right here, this is the clip that I just played, but Secretary Brooke Rollins was talking about the USDA's never had access to the state SNAP data. So not until the administration demanded. That's why every figure from years past is meaningless. From the 29 states that did share data, we've already identified at least $3 billion a year in fraud. So just by sharing that data, like there's no everything with the government is just like spend whatever, and then someone finds a way to have a magic computer just sending money somewhere, and no one ever discovers it. It's so big and vast. JD Vance said that the VP of the United States said if the fraud is really as low as Democrats claim, why are they fighting so hard to hide the data? Why not just work with the USDA to audit and validate where the money's going? Their resistance to us going after fraud is part of why these programs ballooned in the first place. 100%, And if you look at, It's so funny. They shut down the USAID, right? USA. They shut that down, and all of a sudden, there's no more money going into the Democrat coffers. They have $9 million in the bank account, and they are something like 27 or don't quote me on it, but they're multiple millions of dollars in debt, where the Republicans have over 100 million and zero debt. So again, it's all supposed to be, it's organic and people are donating. Turns out, no, it was all fraud, nonstop from the beginning. It never stops. JD Vance had another banger post about Henry Nowak, who, if you guys haven't been following the story, was a kid who was, I don't know, 20, 21 years old. He got stabbed by an asylum seeker. The cops showed up, and they said he was saying, I've been stabbed. He goes, and the cop says, they released the body cam footage. He says, no, mate, I don't think you've been stabbed. And he can't breathe, and they're handcuffing him because he said he got stabbed by a Muslim, right? So this is insane. So Henry Nowak died the same way a civilization dies, abandoned, handcuffed by authorities who neither trusted nor cared for him, and accused of hate crimes he didn't commit. His murder is as tragic as it enraging. He should be alive today and would be the last of the few generations of European elites who stood their ground against the politics of self-hatred, the mass invasion of migrants, many of whom despise the West and the people who love it. Henry was far from the first to be needlessly lose his life, and I fear that he won't be the last. Each time a life like this is lost, the proper response, the only response, is righteous anger. One of the most important things the Trump administration has proven to the world is that stopping the flow of mass migration and demanding national sovereignty is a matter of political will and leadership. Anything else is an excuse. It is because we love the West, we want to preserve it, we love our civilization, we love our country, we love our children, and nobody should ever die the way Henry Nowak died. May God comfort those and love those and rest his soul. And they're demanding all kinds of stuff. We're seeing, like, and it's so funny because the British police took a knee for that drug addict, name escapes me, Floyd, whatever his name was, George Floyd, right? Floyd. Yeah. Drug addict on fentanyl, died, had nothing to do with the cop, was proven. Toxicology reports, they said it was a knee on the neck. This is standard police practices. A guy went to jail. That guy almost got shivved in jail. He almost died in jail. That cop didn't deserve to go to jail, but this fake outrage about a drug addict who didn't cooperate with police and died because of drugs, not because of the police. It was all proven out. And again, guys got the cops serving in prison, but everywhere around the world, they took a knee. They did it in Congress. Remember, they all took the knee. The British police took a knee. No one's taken a knee for Henry Nowak, who died saying he couldn't breathe. He bled out. They didn't get him help. They're handcuffing him while he's dying. And this is just so tragic, Jeff, and so many, I mean, I hate to even show the footage, and it's. I mean, I don't want to show it because I don't want to give. It's tragic. But here he is. He's handcuffed. You can see his hands are already starting to turn kind of pale. And they're handcuffing him. He's yelling, "I can't breathe! I can't breathe! I've been stabbed!" And they're handcuffing him.
They're so stupid over there, though. That wouldn't happen in this country. Exactly the way what we're seeing unfold over in the UK. It's so out of control over there that they want to arrest people because they want to claim that they're being, because of their speech patterns. They're so out of control in the UK. If they don't fix it, it's done, right? They have a short period of time to fix this. If they're going to continue letting their Muslims pray in their streets and conquer them, if they're going to continue allowing their politicians to control their lives the way they are and impede on any type of freedom of speech, it's done. You can't go this way. Just look at the development within, any fascist regime, at how it continued. Look at what happened in Venezuela, I think, is a perfect example. And to say that the UK can't fall into the same trap that a Venezuela fell into. And Venezuela, if you go back, pre-Chavez wasn't in the position that it's in today. In 15, 20 years, let's say, it devolved. The UK is devolving at an accelerated rate right now. And there's nothing that's going to stop it other than the people on the street. If the people on the street don't fix it and they continue to accept it as commonplace, they're done. There's no return. It's just like this country, right? If you look at New York City, if New York City doesn't fix the problem that they just stepped into, they're going to be what Detroit was post riots in the 60s. That's the shit. That's the life they're going to have to live. You know what? That's okay. If New York wants to walk down that path, that's what they want to vote for. Miami's door is open to all the money. Send all your businesses, all your money, bring it down to Miami. Good riddance. Good luck to you guys. Be Detroit for the next decade or 2 decades. That's your problem. You know, same thing with California. If California is going to continue to allow the fraud of the election, if they're going to allow the ballot dump that just occurred, and they're going to accept that and they're not going to investigate it, goodbye California for a period of time, because guess what? All the money's leaving. In this country, we have freedom of movement. We also have freedom of speech. And freedom of speech and freedom of movement is people in those states, New York and California, saying, look, we're not going to tolerate this anymore. Texas has got open arms. Florida's got open arms. There's states that want us, and we're leaving. And we've already seen that happening. We're seeing the brain drain and the money drain out of those states. They're not going to suffer like the UK is going to suffer. The UK is suffering because their entire political infrastructure is corrupted to a point of demise. And only the people on the ground are going to fix it, not with one protest, not with 2 protests, but they have to figure this shit out. They really need 2 things I think the UK has a problem with. They have a corrupted monarchy that they need to get rid of, and they have a corrupted parliamentary form of government that they need to get rid of. If those 2 things stay in place, I don't see how they're going to change. You have a corrupted monarchy that's living off the teat of the people. What the hell do you need a monarchy for in today's day and age? I don't care. You want to look back historically, they're passionate about their monarch. If you have a monarch, you're not a free people. I don't care if it's just symbolic, or you're not a free people. You're subjugated to your monarchy because you're funding the monarchy, and you want to continue living in that kind of environment. That's great. That's your world, you know, but that's your demise. And the parliamentary form of government is so ass backwards. And the reason you can prove that it's ass backwards is because the guy that you're trying to remove is still in control, regardless of what happens.
Yeah, parliament. And
so
Canada adopted it. It's garbage, Jeff. And I have a new theory that's working, because I've seen enough videos to know that you've never seen bigger pussies and losers in the entire world as what they call the UK police force.
Right. They're horrible.
These guys, I could take 3 of them on. They're completely useless. I mean,
they're cowards too.
The video that we always play with the 12 police officers, a guy has a gun and 12 police officers are, as he's coming towards him, are running around. Here's how it happens in the US. Like, hey, drop your weapon, he advances, boom, he's got 6 bullets in him. Guy's never moving again. He's gone. He's not getting deported. He's dead. He's been muerto. He's out of this world. And the whole idea of,
but their hands are tied also, I got to believe. They
hands
must have certain ways to interact, right?
The thing that will save the UK is a revolution of what happened 250 years ago. That's the only thing, because Jeff, you're 100% right. They're not changing parliament. They're not changing the monarchy. Same thing Trump's experiencing here is that you've got the hardcore left that's going to, negate everything. You got rhinos, these Republicans name only, all the people that Trump took out. They don't want to pass they don't want to get past voter ID. What do you mean? We're the only country in the world you show up and look at the ballot dump that's happening. Spencer Pratt is going to be eliminated from the general election because they're keep counting these fake ballots. And now they've got smart enough to know that some of them have to be for Spencer Pratt, but a very small percentage of them are coming in for him, but the majority are for him. It doesn't mirror anything that happens in a real election. It doesn't mirror anything, but it's the same thing that happened in the 2020 election but there are regulators on the ground. But my new theory is you can overpower these stooges. They're losers. And guess what? And I don't agree with this, Devon, Steve. Next general elections at most, if reform doesn't get in, we're done. I disagree with that. Being in Australia, being on the ground, boots on the ground, meeting so many patriots there, you guys can crush it. You guys are way, way ahead. You guys have way more freaking balls than people in the UK have. Okay, if there's anybody they could take down and put and take over what's happening, because big cities, great. Don't mess with anybody outside the big cities. They got arsenals and guns. You guys can overpower. This is the one thing that's missing from the UK. You guys have the guns. You guys have the power. If you guys are able to unite, you could take down and have your own revolution and say, we've had enough of this bullshit. Start exporting and I'm not going to call for violence in a necessary way, but you got to have a revolution. It's not going to happen by kind words. But if anyone has a shot at it, the Aussies. Don't mess with the Aussies, man. These are patriots like you've never seen before. These guys will take it down. I don't see that sort of fight coming from the UK. But do you think the military is going to stop? I mean, do you think this isn't Iran? These people don't have a military. They have ineffective cops. 3 people struggling to take one guy and handcuff him. This is ridiculous. Anyway, we're going to show a bunch of videos from the UK. Here are the useless police right here.
Oh, look at bro. I see it, I'm gonna give it back, brother.
You got 2 cops. You got a guy that's interfering. Okay, I know they have tasers. The guy's on the ground struggling with a woman's looking around like, what's going on? What is going on? You have an ineffective police force. They don't carry guns. They have tasers. They rarely ever use them. Look at the guy on the ground's overwhelmed. They got this guy trying to help his friend. This is the most pathetic police force in the entire world. This is pathetic, beyond pathetic. Look at this.
Please come. Anyway, please, brother, come. Okay, come. Hey, get me up. Come.
It's on the ground. What's underneath him? What is this?
Somebody has to calm down.
They're not even using. Look at the technique. What is going on here?
Look at that, though. Power in the cops.
Oh, that's a walkie-talkie.
You watch this video. The first thing you do Monday morning, you say, "Hey, you know what, honey? I appreciate you, but you got a new desk job. You're not going to be out there. You're ineffective. This guy right here can't. He's getting manhandled. This guy has a gun. He gets stabbed 7 times. A knife. He gets stabbed. He can't even protect. A cop can't even protect himself. He can't take another guy. Yeah, right.
Brother, let's do this. Please, leave, get out. Stay away.
Meanwhile, you have a citizen that steps in, and he's more effective than these 2 police officers, so-called police officers. The cop's getting dragged, and this guy gets getaway, and he pushes the guy. That's more effective than both cops.
Right.
And he's filming the whole incident.
Yeah. While he's doing it. I wonder how big this guy. Oh my God! Look at them! Look at they're on the ground. They're out of shape. They're out of shape. They're not even like. At least to put them through the gym. Get them working out. Have them lift some. They need to lift some weights. Run a marathon. But both of those women police officers completely out of shape, not prepared for what they're doing. They should not. They should be given tickets. They shouldn't be in the position that they're in. They're putting that. The UK leadership is putting their lives in danger, right? It's not even, hey, they should be out on the streets or whatever. They're putting these women's lives in danger by having them do what they're doing. They're not capable. They might be, they might be well educated through the laws. I don't know, but they're not physically capable or competent to be in the position that they're in. That's not who I'd want protecting my streets. That's for damn sure. I like seeing the police that we have, and I like seeing the police presence. I like seeing our police vehicles. I like our police SUVs. I like our police presence around. They have small SUVs. They have Yukons. They have Tahoes. It's the best, and that's what you need, and it just, that just doesn't work for me.
I watch this, Jeff.
Just doesn't work at all.
Here's a woman who's just airing her beliefs, and of course she's not happy with the Quran being shoved in her face. She's going to say something because she's a Christian. Here she says.
In English, it's a Christian country. I don't want to hear anything about the Quran. No Christian here.
And those angels apportioning each one. Indeed, what you are promised is true.
It's a little bit hard to hear, but she basically said, shut up. I don't want to hear anything about the Quran. It's a Christian country. I don't want to hear anything about the Quran, right? And she's standing up to him out there with loudspeakers, like with their bullshit, right? The death cult is out there, with more, 70 IQ type of stuff here. What's happening? Oh, there's 2 effective police, the same nut jobs. Not only that, dude, if you're going to look like, let's just face it, Jeff, let's call this for what it is. You look at our cops, they're badass. They got bulletproof vests on. They got guns, and they got, rifle. Look at this. This is just embarrassing. Look at those goofy ass hats. They look like taxi drivers. Like taxi drivers, the uniform look pathetic. I mean, you look like, if you look like a clown, you sure act like a clown show, man. Look at this. Look at the clowns. Now she's getting arrested, Jeff. Because she said
she's getting elected. What? She got arrested?
Oh wait.
You're so stupid. I'm so fed up. This is exactly why we're not going to the UK anytime soon. And look at this. The woman there can't even manage her. Look at how these two can't even manage her. Like, what are they even doing? What are they doing? This is such an embarrassment to watch. It's embarrassing they're arresting her, and then it's embarrassing that they can't even manage her. Look at this. The fact that they're arresting her is pathetic. The fact that they can't even manage her. They didn't even take her bag. Like, put your bag down, ma'am. We're being arrested. Look at this. Now she's going to walk away.
Listen, this is the most embarrassing police force in the world. You wear clown outfits and you act like clown. Okay.
Oh my God. Is she laughing? What is she doing? I can't even tell if she's laughing at them.
I mean, how pathetic is that, Jeff? Really? No.
Oh my God!
Here's another guy. Guy's preaching on the street. He's a Christian, and
look at, without us, Europe would be speaking German. The Brits and French surrendered and would have ultimately gave into the Nazis. It's amazing. It's amazing.
I talk about Churchill all the time. Churchill was treated like a criminal after World War II. He's the only one that stood up and said, "We'll fight." Got the U.S. involved. He stood up. Yeah, was he a womanizer? 100%. Was he overweight? Yeah. Was he smoked cigars? Yeah. He was a freaking. He was freaking full out blown freaking awesome dude. And the way they treated him, the shit they wrote about him, man, it was silly, man.
But you're right. She definitely has Gen X strength. They don't even know what to do with her.
Now here's this guy preaching on the corner. Watch what happens, Jeff. It's predictable. You know exactly what's going to happen.
I just need to finish the message and let people hear about the last part, about repentance from sin, and then I can... Right, okay. So we must... What have you been hearing? I have not made any homophobic comments or slurs at all. I've been preaching about repentance from sin.
Look at this. Oh my God, this is a slippery slope that we're watching in the UK right now. He can't make comments. So pathetic.
I don't know who these police are, but
this is how Nazi Germany unfolded, by the way.
Yeah, 100%. But watch this, Jeff. Here's what is allowed in the UK.
That's conquest. What we're witnessing right there.
You're watching these people with their death club, sitting around.
Why are they covering their faces?
And they're always blocking traffic. They go out and block traffic. They don't go out. This is defiance. They go out and they block traffic. This is just madness. Not a religion doesn't say kill people. I'm sorry, it doesn't qualify. But this is what's allowed, Jeff. This is what's allowed. Now, there's a brand new song that's taken the UK by storm, and it's
no freedom of speech in England.
Here it is. Anyway, that goes on and on and
on and on and on.
And here they are. Here's the football match. Here, look at this.
That's right. Everywhere.
And I got to give the Italians a little bit of credit.
Enough of that.
2 back-to-back videos from Italy when an asylum seeker thinks they're going to get away with something, and they're like, "No, not here in Italy.
Not happening."
This is great. There's a guy carrying a knife, one of these asylum seeker type of deals, and he's waving the knife around, and watch, he gets a table right in his head.
Oh, another one. The guy still has the knife, though. You got to give him credit for that. Oh, damn. That's how you deal with it. like other people just walking around like nothing's happening.
He goes to the table, turns his arm, and takes the knife.
Oh, look at this. I love it.
Yeah, not
I
today.
don't know what happened to the guy's shirt.
This guy thought
his shirt between the takedown and everything else.
Here's another asylum seeker. He thought it would be cool to hit a car. No, not a good idea. This is what's great about this. Some random dude just runs after this guy. What? Run away. Up on him.
Oh, there you go. Oh my God! Just beating the hell out of him. But he fell over that. You don't want to end up on the ground unless you got better skills.
But you took him down.
That guy's more skills than the British police. You see that? You see how fast he took him down? Bam!
Of course, man.
Table etiquette. Oh, you gotta love it.
Now, just to show you like what becomes normalized in the when it comes down to the left, Jeff, this is what gets normalized. This guy is running for Congress. He's running for Senate, right? This guy, Graham Plattner. First of all, the guy's got a Nazi tattoo.
Oh yeah.
He's doing the Heil Hitler salute. The member Elon Musk got accused of and everybody else, but no, Trump's Nazi.
He's actually doing
Elon's the Nazi. He's a real Nazi. And yet, there's a whole thing. Look at that.
He's giving him a pass.
Well, endorses the effed up Graham Plattner, compares him to U.S. allying with Stalin to win World War II. These people are insane.
It's just so proof that the left is just insane. The left has gone beyond the pale.
So
they're embracing anything that will destroy this country.
The one voice, the guy that had a stroke and his brain healed. He was hardcore lefty and his brain healed. And this is none other than John Fetterman, U.S. Senator. Right. They asked him about Plattner, and whoa, he did not hold back. Look at this.
Graham Plattner.
P. Hustle. That's P. Hustle.
Call him P. Hustle. And they're wondering what P. Hustle, because that's what the name he gave himself. P. Hustle.
Right.
Okay, yeah.
I love Fetterman.
Oh, no, that's how he described himself, P. Hustle. That's his name. I mean, the MSN folks, you love P. Hustle? And
this is great because they don't even know. They haven't even dug deep enough to know that this is how he calls himself, P. Hustle. And so when he does, why do you call him that? And then he asks the MS Now, which used to be MSNBC. It's called MS Now. They rebranded. Same shitty network, though. He goes, you love P. Hustle?
MSN Now? Because he's awesome, right? Was it the Nazi tattoo? Is it the insults and the kick account?
How do you think Democrats should handle this? He's likely to become the Democratic nominee for the Senate next week.
Some Democrats will defend that mess. I will not. So it's really up to Maine voters. So the people on MS Now, they want to defend a guy with a Nazi tattoo? Okay. If he want to defend a guy that describes the American army as absolute trash, okay. If P. Hustle said that a Purple Heart awardee is a dumb that doesn't deserve to live. Okay. A guy that was probably dropping picks for a decade on Kick. Why is P. Hustle on Kick? I mean, Kick has serious issues, lack of kinds of controls, a lot of underage people. It's really been controversial. Why was he on it for a decade?
Why do you think?
I mean, that's a question. I mean, who's investigating why? I mean, was he sure that he was only talking to, women that are old enough? I mean, what was his protocol? How could he be sure?
Are you concerned that there's more to drop?
Well, he lied to everybody. He said that there wasn't any after his Nazi tattoo situation, and now there's more and more of the things. So he's already lied about that. So I assume, it's like they say, for every ranch you see in Texas, there's 50 that you haven't seen. So I'm sure there's a lot of more ranches in P. Hustle's life.
That's so funny. He used that quote. In Texas, they say, for every ranch you've seen, there's 50 you haven't seen. It's funny he would use that quote. And he's like, with P. Hustle, I'm sure there's 50 more ranches you haven't seen.
That's interesting.
And the one guy who is considered, they want to get rid of this guy more than anything because he's just talking normal logic. He's like, well, no, why would we have support a guy who's done all this? Yeah, the Nazi tattoo, the being on kick and all the other stuff that's coming out. He's supposedly married and all this stuff's happening, and like it's a judgment on character, right? But meanwhile, how many times they call Trump a fascist, a Nazi? I don't understand the definition of fascism. And if Trump, and they had the No Kings rally, but if Trump was really a king, like the king over in England, it would shut down the rally, right? It happened globally. $30 million was invested, or hundreds of millions of dollars invested in it. But if he was really a king, you would have shut it down, because that's what happened in the UK. The king would have shut it down.
Mm-hmm.
What happened? If he's so the funny thing, the irony there is the No Kings rally gets to happen because it turns out Trump's not really a king. These people are insane. I mean, they've gone so far left into mental illness. It's even the parody sites, Jeff. You can't even parody doesn't even exist.
Distinguish, right?
You can't even figure it out anymore. It's so bizarre. By the way, Jeff, I don't know if you saw this. Go ahead and read this, Jeff. I want you to read this thing, but if you've seen this here,
let's see it.
Look at this. Read this here.
Brits wish there were some kind of ranged weapon that shoots high velocity ammunition to protect them from knife attacks. They wish that somebody would invent something like that. Doesn't exist, apparently. That's funny. That's why Curio's comics said an armed society is a polite society. And that's right.
Why the South is so polite. People don't understand that everyone's carrying.
They don't get it. They don't get it. That's right.
That's why you're 100% spot on about that, man.
Saw a billboard yesterday, King Trump in 28.
I love the amount of trigger. And the funny thing is, half the stuff that Trump posts about and tweets about, there's never going to be anybody that's going to own anybody. Like the way he just trolls he's the best at it, man.
He is. Look at this one. Fetterman is a dino. I like that. Should call him a dino. Democrat name only. He's the opposite.
Yeah, he is.
Got to be there.
Yeah, well, that's what happens. You have a stroke and your brain heals, and you're like, "Oh, my brain's normal again." Because you remember the guy was out of commission. No one saw him for 6 months. He couldn't even speak, and
that's right. It was bad.
That happened to a Republican. They would have ousted him like on day 2, and they would have said,
the Republicans would have ousted him.
Oh yeah, that's what I'm saying.
They would have been like, "You're out." They held in there with him, and then look how he turned up. But you know what? Maybe everybody knows. You go through that. Maybe you're flip-flopping. So you get a Republican that does it, and he'll wake up and become a Democrat. We're like, no, you got to get rid of him early. Maybe the Democrats should have got rid of him. They would have
Look at this one, Jeff.
They would have saved themselves.
After mail-in ballots tallied, Joe Biden wins LA mayor race with 81 million votes.
That's good.
There's another good one here. Look at Trump. Trump repairs the crack in the Liberty
Bell. Oh my God!
Freaking hate it. For it.
Mitch McConnell. There you go. The bitch.
Look at this. Pierre Starmer warns of the UK about rise of murder
phobia. Murder phobia. Oh my gosh, that's good.
You want to talk about what's a wank, man? This dude's about.
You guys in Australia, you definitely got to step up and have a good party. You got to have someone who's going to, push you guys in the right direction.
You guys can save yourselves, dude.
It's right there. It's right there.
Government. Graham Plattner reassures voters that there are probably only 14 or 50 more horrific revelations to come. 14 or 15 more. Not too many. Man. I don't know. This is sort of a. You guys knew who Harvey Milk was. They made a movie about him, but he was the first openly gay politician. I think he was the mayor of San Francisco. U.S. Harvey Milk to be renamed the U.S. No Homo.
Oh my God, they're so funny.
They just really never.
Trump straightened the Tower of Pisa. That's right.
Yeah, right. Scientists now warn that they're running out of dystopian sci-fi movies to make about reality.
To make into reality.
Make into reality. That's funny.
We're close to the Terminator.
This one here, 10 real-life examples of why American measurements are better than the communist metric system.
That's brilliant. Did it say 10? Is that what it was?
Yeah, And then this, Jeff, too, this was discovered. It turns out that unearthed ancient sculpture gives insight into how much ancient people sucked at art. The bee never misses.
Here's Aussie. When you get a chance, check out Danger Dan on X and YouTube. That'll show you what's really going on down under. All right, we're going to look them up. We'll start.
You know, John Bolton just pleaded guilty, Jeff. You see this? John Bolton pleads guilty, sentenced to 5-year imprisonment at SeaWorld. There he is around the walruses. He looks like a walrus.
His walrus stash.
He's got that walrus sort of head thing going on there. Yeah, John Bolton's too funny, man. This one too. This is 10 irrefutable proofs that Russia is better than the U.S.
Irrefutable.
B just never misses, man. No, that's some of the biblical ones I think will be lost on people, but that's why I don't necessarily show those. But hey, a man needing a break turns on CNN from reality. A man who needs a break from reality turns on CNN. You just gotta love these, man. That's great. And this one, Jeff, a ceasefire rages across the Middle East. You got smoke in the background. A ceasefire.
Ceasefire, yeah.
It's supposed to mean ceasefire. And then from the Hollywood, turns out that Willem Dafoe is announcing an exciting new role where he'll play someone weird. Just too much fun.
And we got all that and more coming again tomorrow night. How about that?
We do. And we'll leave with this one last one. The Texas Rangers are the only baseball team in the United States that haven't endorsed the Pride Night. So this one, the Texas Rangers double down with no homo night. Man, it's rough.
And also, about a big shout out to the Carolina Hurricanes for winning last night, defended against the Vegas Golden Knights with a 4-3 win in overtime. Game 2, that was a big win for them because now they're going to Vegas with a 1-1. That was big. Vegas had a 2-0 lead for most of the game. Came back in the third, and then, man, goes into overtime. That was crazy. Crazy games for the Stanley Cup. And they're into going into game 3 in Vegas with 1-1. So imagine if Carolina would have gone to Vegas, lose with a 2-0 lead for Vegas. Now it's 1-1. It's going to be an interesting series.
Yeah,
so
and
if you guys are into hockey, go check it out.
Knicks Spurs, the Knicks haven't really been around.
Yeah.
The last time they made the finals was against the Spurs and they lost. Now the Knicks on a really it was the last seconds of the game where the Spurs made it really turn all over, and they basically the Knicks pulled it out a 1-point lead, but now they lead 2-0, which is amazing. It's great to see the pandemic. How much people are really into the Knicks and been watching them all year round. Those tickets now, look at the tickets, Jeff, they're going for something like $10,000.
So crazy.
A seat. So, I wanted to go see a World Cup game, Jeff. The tickets are now up to $1,800. Guess what? I'm going to be watching it on my
not happening.
96-inch TV with my giant surround sound, blowing the sound out. I'll be sitting there watching every World Cup game. And I almost like it because I can pause it and go get another beer. I can go to the restroom, and I don't miss any action. So
yeah,
I'll be watching the World Cup, people.
We had looked at that also. Yeah, forget that shit. Not gonna happen.
Why? I always thought it'd be great. Yeah, when it comes to the U.S. again, I'll go to a World Cup game. You couldn't even afford the tickets were $1,100 like 5 months ago.
Yeah,
now they're $1,800. And let's see, travel to Atlanta, travel to New York or New Jersey, go to Mexico, and you're going to end up paying all this
Miami
ticket.
Yeah,
no. You watch it on TV. It's phenomenal.
Yeah, it's good. I mean, it's fun going to a game, but yeah, one game out of the series at that kind of. I mean, if you got the disposable income, you want to do it, but I'd rather hang out with a whole group of people and
100%
have fun watching the game. And there'll be. Well, I'll tell you what, we were down at the Hard Rock last night, went to see a show, a concert, and then after we came out just to see everyone gather around the big TVs down there watching the basketball game. It was chaos, absolute chaos over there.
What was the concert?
Went to see Charlie Puth.
Ah,
So I didn't know who he was. But
that's okay. Not my flavor. He's a very talented guy. He's a very talented singer and a musician, but not my style of music.
I actually enjoyed it. You know, it was good, but yeah, it's not my thing.
Who else was with him? Anybody else or?
I didn't know who they were. There was a brother sister duo called Lawrence. They were pretty good. They were out in New York, but I felt like I was like at a cabaret type, club. Not cabaret, but just like small. Like we're sitting at small tables getting served drinks type of place.
Yeah,
that type of place. They were interactive, but they were like it was a New York style show. I was like, you guys realize you're in Florida.
Yeah.
The banter. He had his Knicks jersey on, and
yeah.
But no, it was good. It was all right. I enjoyed it. We had fun. That was the good thing. Wasn't Metallica, but
What are you gonna do? Sometimes you gotta jump out of your elements. The other things, yeah.
That's it. Yeah, yeah.
The Wigs are coming. The closest place they're coming is Atlanta, so I'm gonna go up there. That's one of my favorite bands of all time. The Afghan Wigs, Greg Dooley. I love the guy, man. I got VIP.
I'm watching sports.
It was like a Q&A session, and somehow I got positioned right by what I thought was a garbage can. I'm like, why is the garbage can right here? I go, this is probably the worst place to sit. And all of a sudden, Dooley comes out, and he's standing like right there in front of me, and I was like, this is good. So I asked him some deep questions. Like he's like, oh, this is one of those deep fanboys moments. I was asking about like one solo album. Was that supposed to be a Wigs album? It was supposed to be that. I go, some of the styles of departure, but a lot of it felt. And he just sit there and looked at me like, motherfucker, I could answer this question. He's like, what? And he's like, no, it was always going to be a soul. I was like, oh, and I thought I would have recorded it, but no. So I'm trying to get my buddy to go with me, who's also a massive fan. I'm like, you got to go do it. And
what was it?
Afghan Wigs. It's one of those. Their new album's coming out. A couple good banger tunes on there, and their last album was phenomenal. So actually, everything they released has been pretty solid, man. But looking forward to it.
Yep.
Yeah, it's like a niche sort of a band, kind of that came out of the grungy stuff, heavy, call it like a lot of soul in there, a lot of soul, but a heavy rock vibe, and it's really good. And
that'd be
last
cool.
time I was at the show, where's a place in Fort Lauderdale? Small little place, great place to see, and I got to see their when they, what do you call it, the pre-show where they, they test the sound and all that. I can't think what it's called. Yeah, I got to see that. And the guitar player
cool.
A while. He was really cool. It was funny because he had his parents there. He brought him up set him up in the balcony there, and his parents are like in their 80s. I'm like, I hope they take their hearing aids out. They're gonna get blown out in this show, man.
Where were you at the War Memorial?
No. There's no War Memorial anymore. It's gone, dude.
What's that? There's a place that's there, like in that area. What's it?
It's a little. I've seen a couple bands there. I saw the Psychedelic Furs there. I saw who else did I see there? It's a really small, like intimate place. Like it's small.
I saw a comedian there, I think, at the same venue.
Only I can't think of what the name of it is. I'll have to go back into my probably my videos and stuff. I did shoot some pretty good videos, and I was like right there in the front of the stage, which was nice because I'd never seen them, and I was like so psyched about it to actually witness the. It was kind of fun.
Cool.
Yeah, so it was a really good Peter. Who did I see there? I saw some cool people there. I saw some really and it's a nice place. It's not good for sound though. The sound was pretty bad, but it's not really that place. They're going on a tour with this new album, which is great to see.
Cool.
We did an hour 40 minutes, guys. An hour 40 minutes. We're getting out of here right now. So guys,
right now,
tomorrow nights.
Getting out right now.
See you guys on the next one. Chip and Jeff. Ow.
When are we on?
Starting a new show.
When are we on tomorrow night?
8 o'clock, Jeff.
8 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's right. Well, guys, we'll see you then. Check you guys.
Are you down with OTC? Please like, subscribe, and click the bell to be notified when the next video drops.